So you want to make a move to Tacoma. Well, if that's you, you're going to stick around. This video is going to be just for you. I'm going to go through the 10 things that I wish I knew before I left the Midwest and moved out to Tacoma. And we're getting after it right now. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Austin Robertson, and thank you so much for checking out our channel. If you want to be in the know about what's going on in the Tacoma market, everything about what it's like to live here, work here, play here, eating, sleeping, drinking, everything you possibly imagine about Tacoma, smash that subscribe button and leave us a like. Hey guys, myself, Chris, and the team, we're getting phone calls, text messages, and emails every single day from people just like you who are looking to make your move out to Tacoma. So I don't care if you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, shoot us an email, a text, or a phone call so that we can help you make that smooth move to Tacoma. One of the first things that I wish someone had explained to me before I left Missouri and relocated out to Tacoma was that trips should be counted in minutes and not in miles. See, Seattle, for example, is about 33 minutes away from Tacoma, but I tend to find myself on the road for well over an hour to actually get into Seattle. And SeaTac, the airport, which is essentially named half Seattle and half Tacoma, is closer to about 20 miles away, but I often find myself on the road for about 45 minutes getting there. And being a real estate broker who travels a lot for work, I have to spend a lot of time planning and prepping for how I'm going to get around and how many to certain appointments. If you came out here and you wanted to check out one house in Tacoma and one house in Puyallup, for example, it might only be 15 miles away, but it could take us 45 minutes to get there. So knowing how to plan my days based around mileage and minutes is something that I really wish someone would have sat down and talked to me about. All right, number 2 on our list is traffic. And if you've watched any of my other videos on this channel, you know that traffic in both Tacoma and Seattle is something that has really caught me off guard and been a huge problem for me. And it kind of relates to point number 1 in how you plan your day. But I will say that there is an unreasonable amount of congestion in Seattle and Tacoma compared to a lot of other parts of the country. For example, I was just down in Houston driving around and I really had no problems other than some slight 5 o'clock traffic. Well, the majority of the day around here looks like 5 o'clock traffic in Houston. Another issue with the traffic out here is there seems to be constant construction on all of the highways. Now, I'm not just putting this out there like this has happened for the last 6 months. It has been consistent for a very long time. 167, I-5, I-405. It looks like they're always getting worked on. And living in a super rainy, wet environment, not all construction can be concluded all days of the week. Therefore, there's a lot of times where construction equipment is out and being underutilized and lanes are still shut down. So the construction that goes on around Tacoma is something that you're probably going to be a little frustrated with. But I will tell you, usually wherever you're going is probably worth it, especially if it's work. So just make sure you're planning plenty in advance. Also, with traffic, the drivers in Tacoma are a little bit different. No one in this area ever seems to be like they're in a rush. So if you're coming from a place that has, let's say, an 80-mile-an-hour top speed limit on a highway, you're going to be very disappointed to find our drivers cruising on average about 10 under. Not to mention that most traffic in the city is set at about 25 miles an hour. Obviously, this is for the safety of children, pedestrians, and just the overall well-being of town. But if you're in a hurry to get somewhere, you can find these super slow speed limits to be an issue, especially if you come from an area where the average in-town speed limit is roughly 45 miles an hour. Number 3 on our list, this sounds wild, but air conditioning. Now, how was I surprised by air conditioning? Well, 91% of all homes in the United States have air conditioning. But in Tacoma, less than 35% of the homes have air conditioning. When I originally moved, the average temperature in the summer was well into the hundreds. So when I came out here, like many of the clients that I have now that relocate, I was looking for homes that had air conditioning, and it was very frustrating trying to figure out why there weren't any. Now, you see, the fact is that Washington's climate is very temperate, and there were only about 15 days last year that broke 80, and there were a few that hit over 90. But in those cases, we spent time in the water, went to the movies, did whatever we could to just be out of the heat. But when you're relocating, it's going to be kind of a shock to find out that like a third of the homes here have air conditioning and all the rest don't. So just have that in the back of your mind when you get out here to go shopping that your house might not have AC. Following the shock with the air conditioning, the next thing that I was super accustomed to in the Midwest that I lost when I moved out here was basements. We had always searched for homes with basements. Of course, there were a ton of tornadoes between Texas, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas. We even got caught up really terribly in the Joplin tornado that made the world news. So naturally, when we made our way out here, a basement was something that we were super interested in. And a lot of our clients that relocate again say, hey, we really love to have a basement. But I just ran a search on our MLS today. And out of all of the homes that are active, pending, under contract, well over 5,000 of them, only about 1 in 15 of those had some form of a basement, whether it was finished or unfinished. Now, the main reason for this is one, there's not those natural disasters. You're not afraid of these tornadoes coming through and hitting your home like you might be back where you're coming from. But on the other hand, it is such a wet climate. The soil is soaked all the time and the water table is really high. So it's actually a really bad environment for basements. So when you move here again, I would just add basements to the list of things that you're going to be surprised that you're probably not going to find. Number 5 on our list, and this is one that I've kind of shouldered personally, is I really had no idea what neighborhoods looked like. When I was searching for homes around Tacoma, I found so much unique charm in the design of the architecture in the homes. From North Tacoma to South Tacoma, from Parkland to Ruston, it is such a wide variety of options, a wide variety of prices. There's really nothing showing me what these neighborhoods actually looked like. Now, I've created some videos. I'm going to put one right up here for you to check out that shows you 3 different homes and 3 different price points in 3 different neighborhoods right here in Tacoma. So you can see kind of what I'm doing with that. But this was really frustrating and made finding a location kind of hard when I moved. The next thing that I really wasn't ready for was the seasons. You see, everything kind of starts later here. So, for example, while most people's kids are getting out of school in May, our kids are getting out of school in the middle of June. In fact, our rainy season actually goes April, May, June. Some people call it January or the June gloom. It's pretty gray and rainy during that time. Customary for us, we really don't look at summer being until about July 5th, whereas where I came from, basically the end of May was full on summer. Out here, we just shoot fireworks off. Next day, we are considering being summertime. And don't forget, unique to us, the big dark. And that is actually my next point. No one ever talked to me about the big dark, so I'm letting you in on a little secret. Weather staffers prefer to call this period of time the big dark. This is October through about March, and Washington is essentially under a constant state of gray. The shortest day of the year in December, we only see about 8.5 hours of total sunshine. Psychologically, the big dark can be something that can weigh on you pretty heavily. When you take into account that for months you are waking up when it's dark and then you're coming home from work when it's dark, you're really not getting to see the sun that often. And it's so cloudy that while it is bright and it's daylight for those few hours, we're often covered by gray. And this is the main reason that we see a lot of seasonal depression in the Tacoma, Seattle area. So when you move out here, if you start feeling sad between October and March, I just want to encourage you to go talk to your doctor, share your feelings, take some vitamin D, buy some UV lamps, do the things to protect yourself, get good sleep, because this little period of time can be rough for a lot of people. Number 8 on our list is sales tax. Now, I celebrate the fact that Washington State has no income tax quite a bit. In fact, it's one of my favorite things about living here. But sales tax, on the other hand, is pretty brutal. I thought the sales tax in Springfield, Missouri, where I came from, at 8% was hellacious. But out here, it takes it to a whole nother level. Now, the Washington state sales tax is about 6.5%. Now, that doesn't sound too terrible, but the city of Tacoma does add on an additional 3.7% for a sales tax. And while you think, okay, well, it's only a couple percent higher than what you came from, how is it that bad? Don't forget that Washington is overall more expensive than probably where you're coming from, short of California. In fact, for me personally, it's about a 17% increase. So those taxes then are set even higher. So just be prepared that when you go to buy something in a lot of these cities, your sales tax is going to be rough. Number nine, and this one was kind of a shocker and might be some kind of weird to you. No one uses umbrellas in Tacoma.
To my Pacific Northwest friends, are you ready?
We don't use umbrellas. Like in the whole P&W. I thought this was super strange and immediately found out that was the fastest way to spot a tourist. And I found out quickly the fast way to spot a tourist is because their umbrella is inside out from the wind, simply ripping it out of their hands. So what I found is that most of us just use a hoodie or the hood of a coat, and we just kind of tough our way through. So expect on a rainy day in Tacoma to not see anybody busting out umbrellas, to just be walking through the street like it wasn't even raining. And number 10, and finally, quality of life. I really did not expect to move out here and to see my income increase the way it did. I didn't expect to lose a bunch of weight. I didn't expect to come off of medications. I didn't expect to have all of the things to do with my kids that I do or the activities that we have. Ultimately, I made this move without knowing how blessed I was going to be moving to Tacoma. And I am so grateful for all of the beauty in the P&W and all of the activities, being able to go see the Seahawks, see the Mariners, go see the Kraken. No matter what you're into, no matter what you want to do, there's an opportunity for you to flourish and succeed here in Tacoma. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I was shocked by so many things moving here, but ultimately life has been a lot. Well, guys, there you have it. Those are the 10 things that I genuinely wish I knew before I moved to Tacoma, Washington. And again, listen, Chris, the team, and myself, we're getting phone calls, texts, and emails every day from people just like you who are looking to make their move right here to Tacoma. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, shoot us a phone call, text, an email, and we would love to get in contact with you and help you make that smooth move to Tacoma. So until next time, can't wait to show you around.